Hey everyone, welcome to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your hosting Café con Leche every Friday. And today we are encouraging you to get social with us online. That is, of course, we need to hear from you. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, don't forget, follow me. And speak to me. I really want to hear from you guys on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So during this time, many people are stressed and filled with lots of anxiety over this COVID-19 pandemic. And our next guest is a meditation teacher and coach with over 2 decades worth of experience. And he's here now to give us some meditation tips. Please welcome Ananta. Hello, Ananta.
Hi there, Rhina. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you for being here. That accent, where are you from?
I'm from the UK, close to London.
Originally from the UK, but now you're in New York.
Exactly. 3 years in New York.
3 years in New York, and ouchie, ouchie, we are going through it right now. And so we are all in this together.
We certainly are. Yeah.
And while we are all focusing on the wellness within our physical being, right, which is very important to wash our hands and make sure we don't touch our face, there's also the mental state that comes into play. So let's talk a little bit about your practice and what your recommendations are.
Sure. I mean, you mentioned a little bit just before about my practice. I've been practicing meditation for a bit over 20 years, and I teach in the city a space called Place to Meditate. So I've been teaching for a long time, and I'm also teaching in mindfulness-based stress reduction. So that's a program that was developed by John Kabat-Zinn to help people to deal with stress that they encounter in their life and anxiety. And I think that, like you're saying, people are dealing with a lot of issues at the moment: stress and anxiety caused by this crisis, isolation through being at home, probably just lots of concerns about what might happen, what could happen to yourself or could happen to loved ones. And I think one of the pieces of advice, I don't quite like that word, or advice, but anyway, something that I recommend is obviously self-care. It's something that is quite important for maintaining your mental health, and which meditation is particularly geared towards. So if we can take care of ourselves, our mental health, then that means that we can minimize our own worries, our own stress, and also be there for others to help them as they're going through their stuff too.
And so mindful-based stress reduction meditation, what does that entail?
So it's an 8-week course. It's been tried and tested for over 40 years. It was developed in the University of Massachusetts, highly researched, and it was one of the major initiatives that sparked the mindfulness revolution, if you like. So it's a phenomenon that spread worldwide. And during that 8-week course, participants are introduced to techniques of mindfulness, of body awareness, of dealing with their stress reactivity. So noticing when something stressful happens, either an external event or something, just a recurring thought that can go on in our minds, finding creative ways to deal with that. So instead of what your habit might be, kind of going into more like tensing in the body or reaching for the glass of wine or something else, noticing that reaction and trying to have a creative response. Quite often people find when doing this course that just by coming into the body and noticing what the mind does, they find a lot about themselves that can be quite simple, like I tense my jaw. When I'm in a stressful situation, my shoulders tense up, or my palms start sweating, and then noticing that, oh, that's a sign. Oh, I know what's happening here. And with that knowledge, then it gives people the freedom to then choose to, okay, I can relax. I've got a bit more space around this reaction, and I can choose to act in a different way that isn't responding with anger or retreating into a shell.
Right. At this particular time, I think is it's important for all of us to really consider that, based on this quarantine, self quarantine, and this isolation, it's actually a time to really take the moment to get to know yourself and to address anything that may or may not be working for you.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't want to downplay the kind of the very real threats and dangers that are present and that many of us are likely to face or might already be facing, whether it's dealing with loved ones who are sick or job losses or economic insecurity and so on. And like you say, there is an opportunity during this time, if you are at home and have more time on your hands to look at some of these issues. And I've been really kind of like heartened by just seeing the plethora of online offerings that have appeared over the last week. So there's so many different individuals and organizations that are offering free led meditation. So if you're new to meditation, there's tons and tons of stuff out there. Breathworks is a UK-based organization that are running a free course, Mindfulness for Troubling Times. Space to Meditate, who I mentioned, and who are based in New York, are doing a meditation every morning and afternoon. My organization, Triranta, we're going to be offering something every weekday evening. So they're just a few things. I know there are many, many more.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I just feel that at this particular time, we're being bombarded with so much information that it's a little challenging to kind of pick and choose what it is that you're going to hold on to.
Yeah. Do you mean in terms of, so there's a kind of an issue in terms of information around the virus itself? And
well, we know that there are physical things that need to be addressed and definitely need to be applied and respected and practiced, right? We're aware of that. But then there's that worry that you opened up with at the top of our discussion that can just kind of play and replay and replay and replay. And then you become stiff. Paralyzed, actually. And so that is really what I'm hoping that we can assist our viewers with in trying to get past that.
Yeah. So I want to say two things to that. So one, you might have heard the term digital detox, and I know for myself and friends of mine have said this as well, that the information that is available just in terms of the virus and developments every day is overwhelming, and you can spend all day online and be reading and so on and taking all of that in. And there's obviously a degree to which that's helpful and really important for us to understand what's happening, and it can become overwhelming. So having a digital detox, maybe like if you're living with someone, you could have like an evening where you don't talk about the virus. Just have a break, kind of give your mind a break from this. And when it comes to our own mental patterning, the rumination that can happen, worrying that, say, yeah, it does lead to or can lead to paralysis, this is where the meditation can help, because by bringing us a more awareness into the body, to what's happening internally, and just looking. So what's there? Because there are so many clues in the body. When we bring our attention to it, the mind and the body are so interlinked that we can notice and see that connection and go, so there's perhaps a little bit of spaciousness and a bit of lightness. So while I'm feeling my thoughts are telling me I'm tense and I can't do anything and I'm completely overwhelmed, the body might be saying that might be true, partially true, but there's another story as well. So it just helps us to reframe our thoughts and not take them so seriously.
Right. In addition to that, stress does reduce the immune system. And right now we need to be proactive in building it.
Exactly. And it does reduce the immune system, and it causes so many, can lead to so many diseases and so on. And, this technique, there's so much research out there that talks about the benefits of increased well-being, better ability to sleep and so on. So it's not a phasing out. I think that can be a misunderstanding. It's not a cutting off either. I think it's what I was saying before. It's a kindness to yourself. It's acknowledging that I get overwhelmed. I can take in too much, and it's better for me, and I think everyone, if I'm in a good state, if I'm in a healthy state of mind, if I can be balanced, then I'm nicer to everyone around them. I'm not snapping at them. I'm not ignoring them. I'm able to be present and there for them.
I understand, and I'm in complete agreement with you. And again, as you mentioned earlier, it's not to downplay the seriousness and the severity of this pandemic that we're all enduring, but it is there's a reality of just right now we're exercising social distancing, and in that social distancing, that and also we're also minimizing, we're also restricting ourselves from even touching our faces, right? And one of the things I've noticed is I touch my face a lot in these past couple of weeks. However, that's not to say that you can't give yourself a hug, right? So since we are exercising the social distancing, and perhaps you're not hugging as many people as you would normally, even without using the physical form of hugging yourself, through meditation, it's another means of hugging yourself.
Yeah, I love that point, because the meditation is very intimate. You're becoming very intimate with yourself, and sometimes it's lovely and gorgeous and really, there's some really nice feelings, and sometimes you find stuff that's like, oh no, I don't really like that. But that can be similar to coming into a relationship with a partner. Like sometimes it is all warm and nice and lovely, and sometimes it's a bit more tricky. But that intimacy that you can develop with yourself, if you then bring that into relation with another person who's doing something similar, creates a very special type of intimacy, because you're both sort of sensitized. So even though we're physically distancing, and I know there are people who prefer that term, physical distancing to social distancing, you may be physically separate, but you can come together socially and connect more, just like we're doing here, just like we do online, when we call our loved ones and so on.
Thank you. And before we go, I understand you're going to send us off with a guided meditation. I know we're kind of out of time, so I just wondered if you could just give us a really quick taste of what that looks like, just a couple of seconds, if possible.
Absolutely. So this is a brief technique called a 3-minute breathing space. I'll do it in a shorter period of time, but you could do this in 1 minute, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour. So it's a very simple 3-stage practice. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing at the moment, you could close your eyes or leave them open as you prefer, but just stop and notice what's present in your experience right now. What do you feel in the body? What thoughts are floating around? What's your mood like? And then the second part is moving to the breath. So where do you feel the breath in your body? Resting where you feel the breath is most vivid. Watching the flow of the breath. And then thirdly, expanding your awareness out to incorporate the whole body. Breathing with the whole flow of experience in this present moment. And then when you're ready, if you have your eyes closed, you can open them and move the body a little, and then you can proceed to the next activity in your day.
Oh, wow. I thank you. Thank you for that.
You're so welcome.
Little itty bitty taste of what people can actually exercise on 10, 15 minutes. Which do you prefer?
Oh, I mean, whatever you can manage. People are in different circumstances and situations. People can find 3 minutes in their day. You know, like it's really not hard, I think, to find 3 minutes. You could practice this on the subway once we're all out. We're using those again, but if you can do even 3 minutes, fantastic.
Beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for sharing it with our viewers today. Ananta, do you have any last words before we go?
Just thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity to share some thoughts around meditation with you. Like I said, I'll be leading a session on Monday evening. I have some courses running up. So if you want to reach out to me, I'm happy to answer any questions. And yeah, thank you so much. And I really encourage people to stay safe, both in body, spirit, and mind during this period.
All right. Thank you very much. Once again, you guys, to participate in meditation class with Ananta, you can visit triranta-nyc.org. We have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll talk to Bronxboro President Ruben Diaz Jr.